Hi guys, I'm Chris. Welcome to this week's tutorial. Let's draw together. So glad you're here, guys. In this week's tutorial, we're going to be drawing a fall bouquet in Procreate, and we're going to be using all free brushes, just actually 2 of them, and it's going to be a little bit of a departure from my usual type of style, but this is really fun, relaxed, and more geared towards beginners maybe, but just have fun with it. Be a little expressive, enjoy just painting and having some fun. And I'm sure you can create this too if you follow along with the video all the way to the end. So don't forget, once you finish this entire video, to share it on Instagram and tag me in the image as well as the description so I can find your artwork and feature you here in the next Draw Together video. So as usual, for this video, I've made you a free color palette just in case you want to use the exact same colors as me, and you can find that in the description below. You can also find there a link to the goodie bag where I love to give you some free gifts, a lot of illustrations and good stuff that you can play with, and also support me by visiting prettylittlelines.com. So let's get to it, and I've created my canvas at 4000 by 4000 pixels, 300 dpi sRGB. So today is going to be a little bit different, like I mentioned, not my usual style, but let's have some fun. I'm actually going to use this brush, probably just use 2 brushes today, and it's going to be found in your drawing section, and it's called Blackburn, and it looks like this. Let me just show you with this darker color here. I'm just going to bump that way up. It's kind of messy, kind of thick, and I don't know, it's kind of fun. I kind of like it right now. So we're going to start with that, and we're also going to go into inking and use the dry ink. So I think that's probably pretty much all we're going to stick to today. So you have those so you can follow along really easily with this. So let's start just with this. Actually, we'll just start with the lighter pink color here, sort of a peachy color. And we're just gonna draw a circle, and it's not gonna be a perfect circle. It's gonna be kind of weird and messy, and that's okay. And then I'm going to create a new layer and pop that layer below. And I'm gonna grab this peach over here, make another little circle. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. And I'm just gonna move this, now that we've done them on 2 separate layers, I can just move it so that it overlaps a bit more. I think I like that better. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Great. So then I'm going to create a new layer by hitting that plus sign, drag it below. I'm just kind of placing different flowers here and there, kind of getting my colors down. I'm going to get that lightest pinky peach here. Maybe we'll do something over here. Again with the same color. And over here. Grab this darker. Let's just kind of tuck that in there. And actually, maybe while we're on that, we're just gonna make that a little bit bigger. And maybe this peach in here. You know what? Let's use this one. Sort of a yellowy color. Let's tuck it in here. Perfect. Okay, so just to save space, I'm just going to merge those all together. I'm not going to move them around too much right now. Again, we're just having fun. This is free form, a little less structured than usual, so that's okay. All right, so then I'm going to, on this layer, I'll stay on the same layer. I'm going to grab this, this darker peach here, and I'm going to go to my inking and grab that dry ink. And it's gonna be, I don't know, I'm probably at about 20% or so. I'm just gonna make some little dots. I'm gonna just sort of do them around like that. Just sort of where the orientation of that flower is, where I'm just deciding it's slightly above center, so it's slightly looking up a little bit. I'm gonna grab this sort of burnt orange color. I'm gonna have this one kind of go around here. Maybe a little bit more in a circular pattern, so it's sort of looking down a little bit. You can play with any of these colors, just sort of make it up as you go. I'm gonna stick with the same color for this one. Maybe add a few little dots. And let's see. I'm just gonna get this color here, the darkest one. I'm gonna make actually another color here so we have a darker one. Add that. then we'll go and grab this guy here. Maybe we'll make this sort of more over here. Something like that. And this guy can be looking over here. So again, looking pretty simple, so I hope you're keeping up with this. I think it's kind of fun actually to do something different. Okay, so then let's go and find this lighter peach, and I'm gonna go back to my drawing, back to that blackburn. I had it quite high at about 55%. I'm gonna go down to maybe about 15 or 20, maybe about 20. Let's see how that is. Oh, so still way too big. Maybe down to 8. 8's good. And then I'm just gonna do some little circles or little curved archy lines sort of around here. So I'm gonna start with like smaller ones. And then I'm gonna have them kind of overlapping, if you see. Just going around. So I'm overlapping where the holes are. Again, it's not an exact science. So it's just sort of having fun, but trying to create sort of that look of layers. Okay. I'm gonna go grab this guy, a little lighter. Same thing here. Little circles. I'm pushing a little bit in the middle to make that a little bit thicker in the middle. So that sort of play with the pressure in your pen. And then let's find this really light white color. Let's see if this is light enough. Yeah, that's actually good. So this medium one here for this. Be a little longer on this. Oops. Overlapping, a little bit skinnier towards the end here. Okay, and then this mid-tone pink. And then I'm going to grab this mid-tone peachy color here. Basically, I'm just doing a lighter tone than the color that's already there. Okay. So next, let's go and put some foliage in. So I'm just gonna hit that plus sign and bring this layer below so all this greenery can go behind those flowers. So I'm just gonna pick, there's 3 greens to choose from, so just grab the middle color one and we're just gonna do some leaves. So with this brush, it's quite pressure sensitive, so you can just practice by going really light, pushing, and then easing off. So pushing, light, pushing, sort of getting that petal-y thing going on. So it depends how much you want them pointed or not. So we can do that, and actually I'm gonna just bump this up to about 15. Yeah, see, we'll get a better shape there, I think. It's kind of a fun brush, you see that? Kind of weird. Anyways, fun to use. Okay, so let's just go in and do some leaves. So I'm gonna just do, oops, my layers bounce back there. So I'm just gonna bring this one in behind, kind of like 2 like that, so it looks kind of painted. And let's see. So I'm just doing like 2 lines like this to create a wider leaf. And let's bring some in here. You know, we'll just need to fill that in, kind of these gaps, right? Just trying to balance it out a little. Okay, then I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to get the, let's see, I'll grab the darkest one here. Bring my pen down to maybe about 8. Let's see how we do with that. Should be okay. First, I'm just going to go back to inking and grab the dry ink and actually make some little stems here so I can follow. It'll be easier. That's actually way too thick. Bring it down to about 7. I'll do a stem there. I'll do one about here. I'll have some coming in here. Kind of map out where I need things to be. One about here. Okay, that's good for a start. Go back and get into drawing my Blackburn. And I'm going to actually bring this down. It's going to be a little bit smaller at 4%, just to make these smaller. All right, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of a different pattern here. I'm gonna make these a little bit bigger. And actually I'm gonna play around with the colors a little bit too. I'm gonna bring in this lighter one just to have a little variation. Just going to bring in this lighter color here just to have some variation on these leaves, just to change it up a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to do the same here. Actually, I'm going to turn this around, bring in the darker again. So you're going to just be like a little bit rounder. And bring in that lighter color again. I made those too uniform, hold on. Okay, I think we'll do the ferns on here too. So back to the darker color, and maybe a little bit more uniform fern type look here. Okay, good stuff. So let's bring in a different color, and I'm going to just add a new layer. Hit the plus sign. I'm going to bring this yellow in. Go back to my inking, dry ink. Bring a little something over here. Actually, I'm going to have this layer at the very bottom. Maybe there. All right, start with that. So I've drawn 3 lines, sort of one here, one here, one here, just sort of giving it a circular composition. Okay, so then we're going to go back to the I'm going to go back to my drawing and to the Blackburn brush. Still keeping it fairly small, maybe bumping it back to about 2. And seeing where we can go with this. We might have to give a pass twice on it to get a shape that we like. I'm really using my pressure here. You can make this up. I'm sort of doing sort of a wheaty sort of looking thing here. That's what I'm thinking of anyway. Just making little lines, using a little pressure. Sort of this shape I'm keep making over and over again, this bit of curved. Maybe we'll bring this up some more to 4 now that we're getting down the end. Probably a little bit easier. Just gonna fill in some of that down there as well. Just little dots. Just using that pressure. Okay. So let's see, what else can we do here? Let's bring in some berries. So I'm going to use this really dark reddish color. I'm going to bring in another layer and just adding some berries. So I'm going to have this at about 2. Actually, you know what, let's go to inking, dry ink. Bring that up to about 10. Might be easier, maybe about 20. It's probably easier to do circles with this brush. So I'm just going to draw some irregular dots, but in sort of a cone shape. Maybe we'll bring that up. Let's see what it looks like on top of the green right here. I'm gonna be tucking in there. Good. And we can go and draw a little stem that would run through it as well if we want. Makes that look a little better. It'll be coming out here. Again with my composition, I'm just keep kind of doing this circular type composition, keeping it sort of rounded and somewhat balanced, but not totally like symmetrical. And these are really easy. Just some dots. There we go. And then maybe we'll bring in some, maybe just a whisper of that here, just a touch. Okay. New layer. I'm gonna get this nice dark blue here. And bringing that in something, let's see. Something around here. And I'm going to bring up my pen. I'm still on my dry ink. Let's bring it up to about 35. Sort of do some sort of clusters. Maybe 3 or 4 in a cluster. Bigger berries. Oops. Just bringing this line through here. Alright, I need to bring this down. This line will never work to about 15. Back up to about 38. Okay. I'm thinking, obviously, I'm going to need a leaf or something like that in there. Let's see, maybe we should have some coming over the top. We'll make it medium green color. Oops, I'm going to use my blackburn, of course. And I'm going to go back to my drawing and grab that blackburn. It is going to be at about 10%. And I'm just going to draw a leaf over top here. Sort of tucking it in here. Going to do a bit of that around here, just sort of where these join. Oops. Might have a little bit sticking out in between. Okay, then I'm just going to go back to my blue layer, and I'm going to do some little more leaves here with this blue. I have the medium blue. I'm just going to go and do a couple of little regular leaves like that. Yeah, it's more balanced a little bit. Maybe some in here. And maybe over here. Okay, and then I'm going to go and get my inking, make it at about 10%, and just make a few little stems here. Let's see, where are we? Just going to connect them all. I'd be pretty loose with it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with it. The composition seems fairly balanced from my perspective at the moment. Actually, I'm going to go back to the dark green layer and just hit the plus sign. I'm going to bring in this medium green. Maybe this one right there. Okay. Then I'm just going to add some details on top. So for this, I'm just going to go on top of all my green layers here at the top and get the lightest green. Bring my brush down to maybe about 6. And where there's some dark petals, I'm just going to add, or leaves rather, I'm going to just add a few little highlights maybe, just a little bit of something so it's not quite so flat. Just where I think you need a little highlight. Maybe bring this even more down to like a 2 when you have the smaller areas here. Doesn't have to be every single leaf, but you can kind of decide what you want to do with that. Okay, and then I'm gonna just grab the dark green, and on these lighter green leaves I'm just gonna add in some more detail, maybe back up to about 5. Just bring in some little bit of lines. Just supposed to be really loose and interpretive. You have a little blotch of blue there. Oops. All right, I need a little bit of green here. Maybe just a dash. So let's go do that. Grab that mid. You know, grab the light. Let's just see. I'm just looking in the camera because sometimes it's hard to tell from this angle. I think that's better. Go back up to the top, grab that dark again, and just sort of give it a little something there. Wonderful. Okay, so then I'm gonna go and just get this really light blue. Do a few little dots here. Maybe just a few little splotches there. Oops. Try to stick to the edges. Try not to do them smack in the middle. It looks a little bit odd sometimes. Okay, good. And then I'm going to bring in this lightest cream color. I'll go grab my inking brush, I think, at this point for this, and just give these little something. I'm literally just putting a few dots and pushing on my pen a little bit just to make that pop a little bit more. Okay. And then with the light pink color, we can just do these little berries too, giving them little dots. All right. Okay, I'm just going to keep going here, and I'm gonna grab this color here. I'm just gonna grab on my, I'm just gonna select my colors here. Just grab this and do a little bit darker, maybe just put a few darker dots in here. Just have those pop a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit better. Same with this, just bring in this dark color here. Just a few dots around, it's already dark. Okay, I think the last thing I'm going to do, might be my last thing, we'll see. So I'm gonna just go and add a new layer. Grab this really light, the whitest color here. Go back to my drawing, back to Blackburn, and I'm going to keep it fairly small at about 3. I'm just going to add a few little simple white flowers. I'm at the top, right? Yes, I am. Okay, so just like about 5 little petal, simple little flowers. So some of them are just going to be tucking in here or there, maybe a little clustered. So you can see they're just really simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops, 4, 5. Pretty messy, simple. We'll just put a little center on them in a minute. I think that just gives a nice little pop too. Some of them are just going to be tucked under these flowers too, and I'm not going to put them below. I'm just going to draw them as if they were sneaking up, peeking up behind them. And some of them will be on top. And here. Keeping them fairly central, just sort of so the focal point is pretty much in the center. I think it just sort of draws a little bit of attention, having the white. Oops. Okay. And then I'm gonna go and grab this yellow color and just do the little centered dots. Super simple. And this is where you can kind of determine where it'll show more what angles they're on. So you can kind of have them tucked in like that, you know? Make them show on the side. Kind of like that, little half moons. All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed a little break from the usual style and just something a little bit freer and looser. And if you did like this tutorial, please hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of new tutorials just like this one in the future. And don't forget to come visit me at the shop too, prettylittlelines.com. I'd love to see you there. There's lots of good free stuff there for you I'd love to share with you. So love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.